What's going on, guys? I am back with another awesome cookie recipe, double chocolate chip protein cookies. Or is it double chocolate chip? Doesn't really matter. These cookies are awesome. They're a lot like a Lenny's and Larry's type of cookie, size-wise anyways, but just way cheaper to make at home, a fraction of the calories, and also these cookies have way more protein than one of those cookies. This cookie has over 25 grams of protein in it. Let's get started. Let's get cooking. Let's make this cookie. All right, so the first thing you're gonna wanna do is get out a small bowl and add 1 scoop of chocolate whey protein powder to it. Next, you're gonna wanna add a tablespoon of unsweetened cocoa powder, followed by a tablespoon of coconut flour. We're also gonna be adding a 1/4 tablespoon of mini chocolate chips, as well as the liquid sweetener of your choice, either a sucralose or stevia sweetener. Finally, we're adding a tablespoon of unsweetened vanilla almond milk to our bowl, and now we can get in there with a spatula and start working all the ingredients together until a dough-ish consistency starts to form. Once one does, you spray your hand with a little baking spray. It just helps work your dough a little bit easier without it sticking to your hand as much. And then you can start sort of forming a cookie a little bit. Then you can go ahead and spray your countertop with a little baking spray. And I also like to spray my hand once again with a little bit more baking spray as well. It just really helps a lot in terms of the cookie not sticking to your fingers as much when you're working it out and tapping it out like I am and forming the actual cookie shape out of the dough. So I like to kind of do this, just work it from side to side with the bottom of my hand. And then once it's looking good, I'll add another 1/4 tablespoon of mini chocolate chips to the top of my cookie. And then once it looks really good, I just transfer it to a plate and I'll microwave it for just about 10 seconds. Don't over microwave your cookie. That's the #1 tip I can give you. 10 seconds should be plenty. And once it's done in the microwave, just let it set for a minute or two and you will have a warm and gooey, delicious double chocolate chip cookie. All right, guys, so I do have just a few pro tips for you to make sure that your cookie goes as deliciously as possible. Pro tip #1, as always, is use a food scale. If you don't have a food scale, there's a link to grab one in the video description below, but it's super important that you're precise with your measurements because if you add just a little too much almond milk, you'll end up with a batter and not a dough. And if you add too much coconut flour, you actually can never develop a dough. And then you'll have to add more almond milk and go back and forth until you find the right consistency to actually make a dough. So just make sure that you follow all the metric measurements that are provided for you in the full recipe in the video description below as well. Pro tip #2 is definitely use whey protein powder. Don't try to sub a different kind of protein powder into the recipe or use a combination of either whey and casein because it's not gonna work the same. You're gonna need different measurements for the recipe and I don't recommend it. I don't even know if a cookie will develop for you if you use a different kind of protein powder. That's kind of make a cookie at your own risk. Choose your own destiny if you go that route. So what I'm saying is just use whey protein powder and your life will be a lot easier. Pro tip #3 is about the liquid sweetener you choose to use. If you choose to use liquid stevia, for instance, you're definitely gonna need more than the teaspoon I recommended in the video. So if that's the case, just make sure you taste your cookie dough before you roll it out into a cookie. Make sure that it's adequately sweet for your tastes. And if it's not, you can always add a little bit more stevia in at that point. And as far as the macros on the cookie, it's 187 calories, 4 grams of fat, 13 grams of carbs, 6 of which is fiber, and 27 grams of protein. It just blows the Lenny and Larry cookie out of the water in terms of the macros and really just out of the water and everything else too. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I hope you enjoyed the cookie. Let me know how it goes for you in the comments below. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.